Well, for that, now it is time for us for the opening plenary titled Making Technology Work, a Peep into the Future. Here's where we highlight on how, looking into future, technology promises to drastically reshape on how we live, work, and interact with the world. As we continue to innovate and overcome challenges, ensuring that these technologies work for the betterment of all is a task that requires collaboration, foresight, and ethical consideration. And for the first session, we have a special address by Professor Sharon Pickering, who was appointed Vice-Chancellor and President of Monash University on January 29, 2024. An internationally renowned criminologist, she's somebody who's recognized for her expertise in border crossings, migration, and trafficking. Professor Pickering has published over 15+ books and over 80+ articles and chapters, leading influential research programs across Europe, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. Her leadership at Monash includes acting as the acting provost, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Education, and the Dean of Faculty of Arts, with the extensive contributions to the international campuses and strategic initiatives like Global Immersion Guarantee and the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion portfolio. I think the lady of such stature deserves a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's invite on stage and the podium, Professor Sharon Pickering.
Well, a very good morning to you all, and my sincere thanks for such a warm introduction. I'd very much like to thank the conference organisers, my fellow speakers this morning, one and all, for being here at the Pan IIT, thank you, alumni in India. It is an absolute honour to be here, and it is wonderful to be back in India. I was last here just in August last year for our graduations of the IITB Monash Research Academy, and I'd like to pay particular respects this morning to my esteemed colleagues from IITB, with whom we have enjoyed such an incredible relationship since 2008. The IITB Monash Research Academy is absolutely central to Monash's international campus network. Many of the brilliant IITB Monash alum have gone on to establish many of the great technology startups that those wonderful young people downstairs right now are seeking to emulate. It is incredible to look back at some of the success of those alum from the Academy, whether it's Professor Vikram Vishal's Clean Energy Solutions Company, and of course being involved in India's first carbon capture and conversion plant, or Dr. A.R. Baramurali, co-founder of New Genomics, that's using data analytics to harness AI to provide personalised medicines. Whether it's Professor Prasoon Kumar's IOTA Diagnostics, using diagnostic tools for healthcare, or Dr. Subhadeep, whose San Francisco-based startup Convalesce is developing innovative stem cell therapies for neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's. And if there's one message that is really important to Monash at the moment, is to really understand the importance that personalised medicines can make to populations right across the Indo-Pacific and around the world. So in speaking to you about making technology work, the role of universities like my own, like IITB, like all of the IITs, are actually critical to the development, understanding and use of technology going forward. But we need to do this with both scale and of course with focus if we are going to impact our region. And I have made this case in many other places, but the Indo-Pacific region is the most important for this work going forward. And Monash regards itself as the University of the Indo-Pacific, one that is dedicated to building the research and the educational ecosystems that support technological and social change. And we do this as a university that has humbly learned so much from India's educational excellence. For we're a young university, and we were just remarking, we were founded the same year as IITB in 1958, and we have always been deeply international. Back then, 1 in 10 of our students came from across the Indo-Pacific. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to give you a sense of what my university is about through a few pictures. Monash today has some 84,000 students that span across our campuses in Melbourne, almost 10,000 students in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and of course our research academies here and in China, and a centre in Italy. Our global alumni community and our alumni communities are what make us as universities, and seeing your alumni communities here today is incredibly impressive and reminds me so much of that. Monash has an alumni community approaching 500,000 around the world of some 150 countries. More than 10,000 of our alumni are from India, and right now 3,500 of your countrymen and women call my campus in Melbourne, Australia, home. So let me just show you something of what I'm talking about so I can contextualise my comments about the future of technology. Monash is a university not named after a place. It's named after a person, Sir John Monash. Sir John Monash was an engineer, he was an innovator, and he was a military general. He started from very humble beginnings, and he remains Australia's most admired soldier. And despite some British consternation to the contrary, he is regarded as the greatest strategist of World War I. When he returned from that war as a celebrated general, he became a nation builder. He was a scholar. He founded the State Electricity Commission, and he also went on to become University Chancellor. When he died in 1931, 1 in 3 Melburnians came out for his funeral. At that time, that crowd would have filled the glorious MCG some 5 times over. He is an inspiration to our university, for he brought with him not only great technological and strategic expertise, but a great ethic of service to the nation. And he and his legacy is what we are building our distinct student experience upon. For Sir John once said, "Equip yourself for life, not only for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the whole community." And that speaks directly to Monash's purpose and our joint purpose here today. Because Monash's foundational purpose was to realise the social and technological transformation to meet the challenges of the age, and to do so for our aspiring communities and industries around us. We hold true to that purpose today as we did in 1958. But our international reach provides us with a unique ability, and here in the room with you today, and a unique opportunity to assemble possibilities and partnerships to help solve the world's biggest problems. It gives our excellent research the scale and the scope to make an impact in the most important region of the world, the Indo-Pacific. Today, my university that I know and love and have served for some 22 years is widely acknowledged among the top 40 in the world. In the 2025 QS World University Rankings, and of course this is obligatory for a Vice-Chancellor and President to regale you with these details, Monash is now ranked 37th in the world. In our QS subject rankings, we are ranked second for pharmacy and pharmacology. We thought it was important that Harvard got a chance. And 17th in mineral and mining engineering. We also enjoy subject rankings very high for business administration, education, and indeed in nursing. I know you have a focus here at these meetings on health and medicine. The scale and impact of Monash across the board is exemplified by our Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences. Monash University leads 1 in 4 of all clinical trials in Australia across a network of health and hospital partners comprising of more than 7,000 beds. Every 5 years, Monash leads out some 2,000 new clinical trials, bringing patients access to life-saving medicines and care and providing the critical evidence required to commercialise new pharmaceutical, diagnostic and medical device products going into global markets. These reach every day somewhere between 4 and 6 million Australians. We have more than 1,700 medical and health researchers, many embedded in hospitals in joint appointments, and this has been critical to the acceleration of our research and its ongoing commercialisation. They are part of an ecosystem of health, academia and industry comprising more than 3,000 general practitioners and clinicians. It means we have the opportunity to deliver health and medical research outcomes, education, technology and partnerships at a scale that is otherwise unimaginable. What we've also been able to do, and this is critical for the future of our work, has been to break down the barriers between research and treatment. Gold Star clinical trials are now the best medical treatment patients can receive. And when they are receiving that in Melbourne, they are receiving it overwhelmingly at the hands of Monash clinician researchers. But we must also think of our students. In our education, we are committed to providing our students with an excellent and transformational experience. And one of the things that we see, and I think what is happening on the floor below us right now, where I will say with the greatest love in my heart and with no intention to offer any insult to anyone, where the average age is significantly lower than this enjoyed in this room. Downstairs right now, we have the future generations in our hands. And what we are attempting to do at Monash with our student experience is not only ensure a great degree, whether it be in biomedicine or engineering, or be it in architecture or be it in law, but it is the experience that we put around that. And we believe that needs to be distinctive for a university that is founded to be deeply technological, deeply socially transformative and deeply international. So that means we are committed to every Monash student having the opportunity to live and work in at least 2 countries of the Indo-Pacific. And right now, every summer, we have some 2,000 Monash first years spanning out across Mumbai and Delhi, across Malaysia, Indonesia, China, all the way through the Pacific. What we then attempt to do is to ensure they have that opportunity to get this place under their skin and understand the ways that they need to build the networks and the collaborations to go forward, regardless of what degree or industry that they are going into. But we also want our students to be deeply industry networked. So that means we want them up close to industry, again, regardless of the degree, right throughout their course of study. What that means is every year some 32,000 Monash students are undertaking embedded work integrated learning experiences. But one of my greatest frustrations has always been how best do we get undergraduates up close to the big breakthrough research? Because even if they do not go on to be researchers and innovators themselves, they will work in industries and organisations that need a deep appreciation of R&D, of innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. I also want our students to know that their Monash, their university, like all of your IITs, have been home to some of the biggest breakthroughs, that we have been the home of IVF, that right now we are the home to the World Mosquito Program, which is eradicating dengue, Zika and other vector-borne viruses right across the world. I want them to have that sense of the importance of nations and of regions backing in that research and taking those risks forward. And so every Monash undergraduate now has the opportunity to get up close to that research and to those world-leading researchers. And finally, for a Monash student, so not only will they be deeply internationally connected, not only will they be up close to industry, not only will they have a deep appreciation of the importance of great research and of innovation, but as the University of St John Monash, we must ensure that they do all of that with a deep ethic of service. And so all Monash students will have that opportunity to undertake great volunteering work in and around each of our campuses. Monash, to give you some sense of what we are and what we look like on a day-to-day basis. We are the most industry-connected university in Australia, and among the research-intensive universities, Monash consistently ranks #1 in terms of industry research income, and of course we now rank #1 in terms of total income, rapidly approaching some $750 million annually. We've spun out some 31 companies in the past 5 years, and we will soon approach $1 billion from capital raised for these spin-outs and startups. Just this week, I was delighted to see Electrolith has raised some $17 million for its world-leading membrane technology. That will change the way that lithium is extracted. Our Clayton campus here, you can see in a slightly elongated map there, is the heart of this technology precinct. It is where we are building an ecosystem of research, scientific infrastructure, industry, healthcare, innovation and talent. This is where Moderna has just opened their first manufacturing facility on our campus in the Southern Hemisphere. It is where the only heart hospital in the Southern Hemisphere is located on our campus. It is where the National Synchrotron is located, and where a number of other related industries have built up. It is also where I had the great pleasure, I missed that one. It's where I had the great pleasure, this gives you a sense of the scale of the precinct here. It is where last October I welcomed your Minister, the Honourable Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, to campus along with Australia's Education Minister to open the Monash Innovation Labs. It's where he took that membrane that had been developed in relation to lithium extraction technology, and I had to remind him not to pop it in his pocket as he left that lab. But it was there that we were able to launch Monash's New India Plan, because we believe our relationship with India is absolutely critical to the future collaborations that we can take forward in relation to not only our technology research but also the education for our students, establishing new collaborations and building even stronger links. Monash's work in India has been very much based around the IITB Academy, but has increasingly reached beyond that as well. Recently, and I was delighted that we were able to establish the Australia-India Critical Minerals Research Hub in partnership with IIT Hyderabad and the International Centre for Excellence in Mining Safety and Automation to foster the collaborative research in critical minerals that both of our countries desperately need. I'm delighted, in partnership with with Tata Steel, we've worked to develop a smart manufacturing and decarbonisation resources hub as part of the Centre for Innovation on Environment and Intelligent Manufacturing, really leveraging Monash's expertise around materials science and advanced manufacturing. And we're working with Apollo hospitals to advance research into training in AI to identify and diagnose a whole host of diseases, from cancer and heart disease all the way through to diabetes. The depth of technology research is critical for us building the foundation of an ecosystem that can take us forward into the coming decades. Monash is leading a DNA screening pilot study now that has taken in initially some 10,000 people and seeks to expand. It is Monash's technology that sits in a magnetic levitation device that runs the artificial heart that we do expect will go forward, not only being commercialised but being utilised so much around the world. The development of new apps such as the Brain Eye that provides easy and accessible ways for people to monitor their brain health by assessing their eye movement, and some incredible work in biomedicine, and here I'm thinking of the work of people like Professor Chris Greening, Australia's National Scientist of the Year, who has been able to provide, has been able to identify an enzyme that turns air into electricity, providing a new clean source of energy called HUC. It basically acts as a natural battery using the low amounts of hydrogen in the atmosphere. Our shared world is being revolutionised by AI and so many of these technological developments. From health to manufacturing, from education to the way we work. And most importantly, the next great discoveries and innovations are being powered by AI. The challenge and the opportunity for all of us is not just for our universities, it is of course for humanity. At Monash, we have chosen to approach this as AI empowering our researchers, empowering our educators, our students, and indeed our organisation. We are deeply committed to a human-centric approach, one that is ethical and responsible, but one that innovates and takes good risks. This means we are really hard at work building the physical, human and regulatory infrastructure necessary for today and tomorrow. Access to high-end computing, along with critical masses of early adopters and effective policy and practice frameworks, is what will allow us to have a competitive advantage in research, in education, and in how our universities actually run. In research, we see and are part of AI having a far-reaching impact on the future of healthcare. Now, health and medical research represents one of the major drivers of innovation in AI. And we really do recognise that while in the last year there was around about $15 billion of investment in AI in healthcare in the US market, we also see that the projections by 2030 have that topping well in excess of $170 billion. Those major discoveries are going to more effectively treat disease, extend lifespans and improve the human condition. And this has been very much the focus of the work Monash has been seeking to do. AI-driven analysis of patient health data, the application of AI to the outcome of clinical trials of new and existing drugs and drug combinations, the application of AI to actual drug discovery, using AI to understand how antibiotic resistance develops, but also with applications in neuroscience, neurobiology, mental health, but also in genomic medicine and identifying the genetic drivers of disease, and of course large-scale public and population health, including work relating to ageing, sexual health, diabetes, metabolic diseases, and of course, importantly, childhood development. We see the application of this, including in large-scale government health, accident data sets and data sets related to the social determinants of health, housing, justice, employment, environment, air quality, energy, water supply, the list goes on. But when we turn to education and AI, we see and are part of transforming the education occurring in universities to take full advantage of AI's immense power. Entire populations will need the skills, the training, and most importantly, the disposition to drive AI. Within our own educational approach, we're using AI-generated personas that simulate real-life interactions between teachers, students, and parents. We have an incredible platform called My Dispense, which trains pharmacy students in dispensing practices. This has now been adapted and adopted by over a dozen countries around the world. In recent research in which Monash was part of, it was found that some 83% of students responded that they were using AI. Just over 40% reported they use it at least weekly. But while they're saying they use it, more than half of them report that they do not trust it, and over 91% are worried about breaking university rules in using it. At Monash, we are not only teaching AI as a standalone course, but embedding it in subjects across all of our degrees to provide practical learning opportunities. We are transforming our assessment not only to ensure the highest levels of integrity, but the greatest capabilities in our graduates. Our students, our collective students, are the front line in advancing humanity through great technological change. And developing the capabilities of our graduates and empowering them is what reassures me about our future. And we do so responsibly, being clear-eyed about the rapid realisation of dystopian futures. The World Economic Forum, meeting in a much chillier Davos this week, recently released their World Risk Report, and yet again mis- and disinformation features as one of the leading global risks. So Monash is also practicing what we preach across both research and education by looking at opportunities to integrate AI in how we work as an organisation. From making sense of 250,000 qualitative student teaching evaluations each year, to revolutionising our purchasing power, and to developing a platform that is able to identify shared and complementary expertise at universities around the world, we get to transform the way our university operates using AI. As universities, we will necessarily consider what AI makes obsolete. But if we think of AI as just replicating or replacing existing functions, and of only increasing productivity, we will miss developing both the appetite and the aspiration of making what was previously considered impossible, probable. Our opportunity here, as a coalition of universities where technological transformation is in our lifeblood, is to do all this in a way that is deeply interconnected, where our universities work together as an ecosystem, leveraging the infrastructure and developing the human capital needed. The IIT system is a global model of collaboration between institutions across boundaries, including across international boundaries. When I leave here later today, I have the great privilege of spending time with around 200 Monash University first years who travelled here to Mumbai on Friday for the very first time. They will be overwhelmed. Those students will be overwhelmed with the sights and sounds of this great city. They will be wide-eyed at the possibility, just like the thousands of first-year Monash students I have brought here since 2018. And I will be forever indebted to this country for the welcome they have given Monash and they have given my students. And what you have done to those students in capturing their imagination, forming friendships and relationships that will last them a lifetime, has been one of the greatest privileges of my career. And I promise you, when you send me your students, they receive just as warm an embrace in Melbourne as you have offered my students here. Those students come from engineering and biomedicine and science, and they come from architecture and law and the humanities. And they come together in these groups of 40, even though I've got around about 2,000 students out across the region right now. And I'm indebted to our partnership with IITB that welcomes them on to their campus, along with TIS as well. And they find common cause. They find common cause in better understanding the challenges our world faces. We build their capacity to be the problem solvers we need them to be. Like many of you, I have committed my life, my professional life, to enabling them. As citizens, as innovators, as entrepreneurs and leaders who can think and evaluate critically based on foundational knowledge, who are open to exploring and of experimenting with new technology, who are self-aware and appreciative of human frailty, and are grounded by the values of civic and ethical service. And when I walked through downstairs earlier today, and you could feel the energy and commitment of all of those young people gathering on this floor below us today, I feel that sense so strongly. Because all of us here today, and I say this with again, the greatest love in my heart, we are probably already a generation behind. So our legacy needs to be the investment, the wisdom, the support and the inspiration that we offer exceptional young people that come to us, who come to be committed to humanity, to people and planet, and to realise the aspiration that my university and all of yours have always been and will always be committed to. The social and technological transformations to meet the challenges of our age. This is our enduring mission, whatever the future may bring. Thank you so much for having me today.
Ladies and gentlemen, a bigger round of applause for Professor Sharon Pickering. Thank you so much for joining us. And allow me an opportunity to now invite Sharat Saraf, convener of PIWOT 2025, to help us with the token of appreciation to none other than Professor Sharon Pickering. Of course, let's give our gentleman and our leader leading it from the front a bigger round of applause. Always fantastic to have Mr. Saraf joining us bright and early in the morning. His energy, of course, is a testament of how magnanimous PIWOT 2025 has turned out thanks to the efforts of Pan IIT. And we have in frame Mr. Sharat Saraf and Professor Sharon Pickering. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give both of them a big, big round of applause. What a fantastic start it has turned out to be for Day 3 of PIWOT 2025.